How's it going, guys? It's Ruben from Let's Talk Outdoors. I want to make a quick video, give you guys some of the results that we got from the couple of days ago on the video that I made. The last video that I made was Let's Talk Deer Returning in the Late Season. We got some great results. So excited last night when I pulled the camera yesterday and seen some great bucks. I'll post those bucks at the end of this video and let you guys look at those and kind of drool over them a little bit, man, because when I seen a few of those bucks pop up last night, I was excited is not even the word. I haven't stopped smiling since I seen them. I lost some sleep last night. I've already had a couple of dreams about them, so I'm excited. We knew deer were traveling through that area in particular, but we didn't know what bucks were traveling through there. Not only did we see a lot of big bucks, we saw a lot of deer, which is always great, especially, you know, guys talk about the rut and things like that. You always want to see a lot of deer in the places that you're hunting. So that particular spot is a great spot. If you see behind me right now, it looks a little bit different than the last spot that I was at a few days ago when I set that camera up and that corn as well. This particular spot is on the mountain, and it's on the backside of a mountain, and it's a great spot to find some big deer. We've seen big deer out here before. We know there's big deer. There's also a lot of other wildlife like hogs, turkeys, and some bear. There's also been reports of a cougar roaming around out here in the last few months, and I don't know how true that is, but they're out here. We know that for sure. So anyway, should be getting some great pictures in return from this particular location. So what we're doing, what we're trying to accomplish, if you guys weren't able to catch the last episode, is there's deer that are going to return back to the habitats that they were in during the summertime. Usually deer return back to their habitats at the end of the year, and bucks are usually traveling together again. And but the bad part is that they're starting to lose their horns. So what I'm trying to accomplish right now for me is I want to know what bucks are in the areas that I hunt that I missed. And you never know what you're going to run into, and that was the case last night. Ran into some bucks that I want to say I seen one of them. By the way, the biggest buck that's in the pictures that I'm going to show you guys at the end is actually the buck that I'm going to name Valentine. Valentine, V-A-L-E-N, capitalized Tine, T-I-N-E. I seen him for the first time, I believe, in February, which is this month. Also his rack, his main beams, they come up to the middle and they kind of curve in the shape of a heart. Also the word tine, his tines, get it? Yeah, I know, funny guy. Anyway, they're turning into like a heart, so that's why I call him Valentine. There's another deer that you'll see on there. He has two horns, his main beams, they meet in the middle. I think I'm gonna call him Intersection. That's a good looking deer as well. I believe he's a 10 point, and Valentine I believe is a 13 point. He's got a back kicker that you can barely see on the back side of his left side, I believe, of his rack. So two big bucks that I'm excited about. There's also two other bucks in there that could just blow up next year. Who knows what these deer are going to look like next year if they make it that far. That's another good thing about hunting is you just never know. You can't control wild animals. So I'm just excited, man, just very excited. So once again, I'm out here in another spot doing the same thing that I did on the last episode. If you guys didn't see on the last episode, if you haven't watched that last episode, I set up a camera, I set up some corn, and I set up a feeder. And all three things you can buy at your local stores. All three things, in comparison to their other competitors anyway, are not very expensive at all. For example, the feeder that I'm using a Moultrie. It's a pine tree replica feeder that I'm using, and it's been great. The deer are interacting well with it, and they're seeming to love it. And the corn that I'm using, you can get there's no particular bag of corn that I'm using as far as brand. You can find any type of corn that you can get and use it. Get that from your local feed stores. Walmart's selling really cheap bags of corn right now. I think they're just selling what they have left over from deer season, if any. So if you guys are interested in doing what I'm doing right now and just trying to figure out what is traveling through the woods that you're hunting, then buy these cheap products. And when I say I use the word cheap loosely, and once again, compared to their competitors, the things that I'm using right now are cheap, and things that are easy access and you can get to. I have some equipment that's expensive, you know, that's not easy to get to as far as financially, but it's not all about that. You know what I mean? You can do the things that anybody's doing that you see on TV, on YouTube, or me included, and you can be successful in the woods. So that's what this is all about. If you guys don't know, I'm all about hunting, fishing, and farming, and I want to grow those populations. There's a lot of people that reach out to me that have a bunch of questions that I cannot get to all at once. The best way I can think of getting to them is through video, through YouTube, through Facebook, through Instagram, and uploading content that they can take home for themselves and teach their kids. I mean, this is something that I love. This is something that I grew up doing, and I'm still learning. So luckily I grew up in a family that is passionate about the outdoors. So it's been a blessing. But once again, I just wanted to tell you guys that this is the best time to experiment. If you're like me, if you're foaming at the mouth to get back in the woods and hunt again, this creates excitement for next year. I didn't kill a big buck this year, unfortunately. It sucks. I did not kill a big buck at all. And I hunted my tail off. My family will tell you every day, they text me. If I wasn't at work, I was hunting. You're gonna have to find me in the woods if you want to find me. So I hunted my tail off. I have no regrets. I tried a lot of new things this year. So I treated this year basically as a year to learn. I kind of put it on the back burner and paid attention to things that I hadn't really paid attention to before. So it was a great season. I don't count it as a loss at all. The season was really fortunate, and I really learned from it, to say the least. So I want you guys to put in the comments any questions that you have, any concerns that you may have as far as what I'm doing. If you have anything that's different that you like to implement in your routine of things, say that. If there's something different, or equipment like I mentioned in the last video, if there's something that I'm using that you're like, hey, eventually that's going to tear up or mess up, let me know. I literally want everybody to help each other and become the best hunter, fisher, and farmer that we can possibly become. And the only way we can do that is by help. Nobody can do this by themselves. And again, those big bucks that I seen last night are gonna be posted at the end of the video. I cannot stop smiling about them bucks, man. Them things, they had me up all night, man, screaming and yelling, calling everybody. I could not believe it. So again, guys, it's not hard. Get up, put some corn out. If you're in a state that allows you to lure deer, do it. Take advantage. Not all states are, what do they call it? Lure. I say lure, but basically you can't bait deer in every state, and that's what I'm doing. I'm baiting deer in with the corn that I'm using, or the minerals that I'm using, or anything like that. So if you're able to do that in the state that you're in, do it. Here in the great state of Oklahoma, we're able to do it. So dang it, I'm gonna do it. So a question that I'm sure I'm gonna come across for people that really don't hunt that much will probably be, how are you gonna keep the bucks in the area that you're hunting from February, which is now, all the way up to October, which is the beginning of hunting season here in Oklahoma? How are you gonna maintain those bucks in that particular location? My answer to that is it's simple. I can't. These are wild animals, man. I cannot control what these wild animals do. I may be able to influence them by putting out corn, putting out food plots. We'll get to that later on throughout the year as far as food plots. But I can't dictate exactly what they're going to do. I can only influence. So once again, that's the great thing about hunting and being in the outdoors. These are wild animals. You cannot control what God has created. You cannot. So I just let it do what it do. And if they come through, so be it. Another great thing about putting corn out around this time of the year, late season, I mentioned in the last episode, these deer, these bucks in particular, they can drop their antlers. Their antlers will drop eventually this year. They'll just fall down on the ground, they'll break off, and they'll start to grow their new antlers throughout the year, and hopefully the antlers will get bigger. But my point being is if you keep putting corn or whatever food plot or whatever source of food that you want to put in that particular area that you hunt, or that particular area you want to find out if bucks are traveling through, if you keep putting food out in those particular areas, then you'll eventually hopefully find some antlers on the ground within the area that you're hunting in, or within the area that you're trying to get more news about, as far as whether or not the bucks are traveling through that area. So that is a great thing that you can do right there. I'm not an antler hunter. There's people, or what they call a shed hunter. I'm not a shed hunter. There's people that go through the woods and they'll literally go looking for antlers. And one reason I don't do that is just because I think the quieter the habitat, the better for the bucks. These are smart animals. You know, you keep going in and out of these woods, and in particular the places that you hunt, the areas that you hunt, they're not they're not dumb. They're not gonna keep traveling through there. So the least that you travel in those areas, the better for you. Come the fall, stay out of those areas as much as you possibly can. Some of us hunt places that we actually utilize, and you have to be in the woods every day. I get that. If you can control it, because the better the environment as far as quietness for them, the better for you as a hunter. So stay out of those woods as much as you possibly can leading up to hunting season. So yeah, like I said, let's talk outdoors. We appreciate you guys. Check out these big bucks at the end of the video. Again, cannot stop smiling. Love the outdoors, love the woods. Let's talk. Follow, subscribe, share, comment. Give it all to me, man. I love the outdoors. Make me better so I can make you better. Appreciate it.